Hey everyone, and today I'd like to take a quick look at a recent custom build I did of my CyberGun F1 FAMAS Evo. The gun itself is internally completely standard. I believe the CyberGun version shares a lot of its internals with the original Tokyo Marui AEG, meaning it does have a Series 1 or Generation 1 gearbox. The gun itself, I believe, was pitched by CyberGun as a French military training aid, meaning that after it's either 27 or 30 rounds, the gun requires you to withdraw the magazine and reinsert it, thus simulating a real magazine. Externally, I've designed the build gaining some inspiration from scout rifles within the Destiny world, or Destiny 2, and in particular the Mida multi-tool. You could also say that the gun draws some inspiration from Call of Duty Warzone operators such as Kruger and Otter, thanks to the predominant use of scrim netting over the gun. Although, saying that, there was an ornament for the Mida multi-tool within Destiny 2, which I believe does provide some netting across the top of the gun as well. Paint-wise, originally this was actually a boneyard gun from Patrol Base, meaning, well, not meaning, but this particular one was a two-toned version that went out to someone and came back unwanted. Probably because of the mag system. Hence, all of this section across the back and the battery cover foregrip section was blue. So all that had to be removed for the paintwork, and after some plastic primer and matte black underneath, I actually lightly coated the gun with Ranger green, creating almost, I don't know if you can see it in certain lights, almost like a highlighted section, highlighted features to the gun, without it being actually just flat Ranger green. Starting at the front of the gun, I've gone for X-Cortec tracer unit or suppressor. This pairs up with the X-Cortec control unit as well. Twofold reason for this. Within Destiny the game, obviously the Mida multi-tool has an ammo counter as well, appearing in a similar-ish location, because obviously this is not a Mida multi-tool. And the second reason for this is it actually ties in nicely with the ammo capacity of this, meaning that I can set this to 30 rounds and know exactly when I need to pull the weapon without having some sort of dead man's click issue. To get the suppressor to fit on the FAMAS's barrel, this was actually a thread adapter, which I've nicely painted in a flat Ranger green at the front. Moving back along the gun, obviously we have the control unit. To mount this, because this is not an original option, I had to install a Picatinny rail at the front. I actually took the grenade launcher sight which comes with the gun off, and used that as an original sort of mounting point for the Picatinny rail underneath. Moving down, we have an angled foregrip. Absolutely nothing special about this. This is actually an Amazon special. I think it was no more than about £10, but installs very solidly. Does exactly what it says on the tin, really. I went for a Ranger green pistol grip, a rubberized grip there, purely, well, obviously for the aesthetic coolness, but also because this gun is extremely rear heavy, with all of the sort of business end of the gun being back here. It becomes quite unwieldy at times, especially when trying to interchange between grips. So this just goes some way to actually assist in that, and assist in manipulation of the weapon. Optics wise, this was not actually the optic I intended to use on the gun, but I actually got this optic for an AA T10 originally, But once I saw it and saw how well it actually functioned, being a scout a scout optic, a 4x variable zoom, it has fantastic eye relief at the rear. For £90, this is by far one of the best optics in this sort of price range that I've found so far, and I've bought several. But I would highly recommend you watch out for something like this on Amazon, which is where this one came from. It's phenomenal for a relatively cheap price, much better than something like a neutral scope of a similar design sort of thing. To the rear, I've installed a rifle ammo pouch. Again, tied it in with the colour scheme of the gun. Very Gucci, some would say. But all I actually wanted it for was this padded cheek riser. Because obviously the differential between the original stock and an optic is massive. So this just allows you some nice cheek weld onto the sort of elongated eye relief that I talked about before, meaning you can really quickly sort of ADS. That's about it really. That's my build. I hope you like it. If you don't, tough. But hopefully it inspires you to do something with your FAMAS as well, as these are quite underrated weapons, I think, and I'd love to see a few more of them out on the field. Thanks very much for your time.